I'm Katie Kelly. I'm one of the counselors. I have students with the last names of G through KL.
And I'm Barbara Walker, and I have students with the last names of A through BL. So it's great to see you students here tonight and families. That's wonderful.
And today we're going to talk about college credit opportunities at Farmington High School. So here all a picture of all the counselors listed and by the alphabet.
We got Miss Arya over there.
Yeah, we have Miss Afji over there. She has the last names of BO through F. So these are the three different ways to get college credit at Farmington High School. We have advanced placement or AP classes. We have concurrent enrollment classes. Those are like college in the schools or Huskies in high school classes. And then we also have post-secondary enrollment options or PSEO. When thinking about college credit options, it's important to think about what's the best fit for you. Like, what are you looking for in your experience? What is best fit for your academics, your personality, just all the different factors of like what's the best way for you to earn college credit. So first we'll talk about what is advanced placement classes. So, advanced placement are internationally recognized college level courses, and students can get college credit by passing an exam that's out of 5. Most colleges accept a 3 or above. So, if you go to a more competitive college, sometimes they only take 4 or 5s. Like Harvard only takes 5s. But we currently offer 13 college credits or 13 AP classes here at Farmington High School, and a lot of highly competitive colleges tend to prefer AP classes because everyone takes the same exam. So it's like it's very standardized because everyone knows that yes, you took the same exam and you got the same score, so it's very, translatable across different states and countries. The next option is concurrent enrollment. So those are college in the schools class. Right now we have a collaboration with Inver Hills for next year, DCTC for next year, St. Cloud State, South Metro State, and the University of Minnesota.
So these courses are taught here at the high school, and they're taught by teachers who are trained and licensed to teach a college level course.
Yep, and going back to the AP, those are also taught by our Farmington High School teachers. These classes are different in the way they earn college credit. So with the concurrent enrollment class, if you pass the class, then you get college credit. And we currently offer 13 here at Farmington High School. If someone is looking to start taking college credit, usually we recommend AP because if you like take the college class and you do not pass, like you do not get college credit, that it doesn't do anything. You don't have a transcript that says anything of that. It just says, hey, you took an advanced placement class and you did really well in the class, but the college like credit is just like, it's not on the transcript unless you want it to be or you qualify. Versus the concurrent enrollment, if you take a college class through concurrent enrollment, you're starting your college transcript. So if you take a college class and get a D on it, then your first college class is going to show that you got a D on it. And so sometimes if students are looking to try out different classes, I usually recommend starting AP because it's a little bit less risky. These are some things to consider as far as preparing to take AP or college in the schools or PSEO. As a freshman taking honors classes, there's like additional homework in those classes, so it can kind of prepare you for the additional homework in the AP classes. And now we have advanced placement human geography, so you can start taking that. But even if you don't take an AP class in 9th grade, you can still take one in 10th grade, or if you don't, it doesn't matter. You don't have to like start right away. You can take them whenever you would like, as long as it like is, when the class is offered. Then we also recommend taking world languages and getting A's and B's. And then once sophomore year comes, take 1 to 2 AP, take honors English, and continue with the world language and the A's and B's. Juniors, you can like up the college level classes, like take 2 to 3 AP or college in the schools, and then as your seniors, take even more. So it's kind of like it builds on each other, so you can know that you can handle the content, and it just sets you up for success and helps you learn those like strategies.
I think too, when you're looking to decide, am I ready to take an AP class? Am I ready to take a college in the schools class? Or even as we go into talking about PSEO, the good people to help you decide those things will be your current teachers. So, your 9th grade social studies teacher will be very helpful in helping you figure out what could be my next best option in that particular career, or that course.
Yeah, and I also tell kids too, like, what subject are you like really confident in, or what subject do you really like? Like, say you really like English, then that will be a great place to start because you're interested in it. So the college level content will probably be easier versus if you take like a class that you're not so fond of, it's going to be more of a struggle potentially with the homework. So these are the classes that are offered like per year for college level. So freshmen, starting this year, they could take advanced placement human geography for college credit. And then 10th grade, there's a lot more options next year. You can replace your U.S. history with advanced placement U.S. history, or U.S. history with college success strategies. That's a new class. You can replace your science with advanced placement biology. And then the other ones, advanced placement computer sciences, principles of marketing, entrepreneurship, and elementary education. Those are all like electives. So say you're interested in business classes, there's 2 business classes you could take for college credit. Or if you want to be in education, there's an education class that you could take. Once you get to junior year, you can replace your history with advanced placement European history, or you can replace your English with advanced placement English and language addition and composition. You can replace your science with advanced placement chemistry. The math kind of depends on which math track you're in, but if you're in the math track that is advanced, you could take advanced placement statistics. And then we have the same electives like advanced placement computer science. Now they can do advanced placement microecon, SMSU pre-calc, and then intro to early childhood education. And then once you get to senior year, you can take a lot more, as you can see. You can replace your senior English with AP English language and comp, or you could do University of Minnesota writing and critical reading, or University of Minnesota literature. You can replace your social studies with advanced placement psychology and advanced placement microecon. The math, there's 5 different math classes: advanced placement stats, U of M calc, SMSU pre-calc, AP calc, SMSU calculus 2, St. Cloud State algebra. So there's a lot of college math once you get to be a senior. So there's options for everyone in everyone's math track. And then these are some sciences if you want advanced placement physics or U of M physics by inquiry. And then we have also some more electives. There's advanced placement art and design, 2D and 3D. So that one, you make an art portfolio, and you can pick which medium of art you would like, if you would like drawing or ceramics. So that's a great elective. And then you can also take AP classes that you haven't taken previously. So you could still take AP US History if you didn't take it in 10th grade.
And then again, especially when you're looking at your math courses for next year, for those of you who are maybe sophomores and you're thinking about junior year and senior year, really talk with your math teachers. They have a great understanding. They'd be able to look at you, your strengths, your interests, and then help you figure out, because there are such a variety of math courses available. That would be great.
Yeah, and I know I listed a lot of classes in that, but if you have questions, like Miss Walker said, go talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors. We can help you figure out because we do have quite a few new college classes coming up next year, and just kind of just talk it through, see what you're thinking, and we can help guide you down the right path for you.
Why don't we take a little break here and just see if people have any questions so far, and then we're going to move into talking a little bit more about PSEO and some other information that you'll need for registration. Anybody have any questions so far? That other people may have too? Yes. This year you can take AP Psych as a junior. I mean, this year you can register for it for next year. Yes, AP Psych as a junior. Good question.
Yeah, it gets a little hard to try to fit all of them like reoccurring on the slides. So, yeah, that's kind of why.
Any other questions, students, families? Yes. That is one option. We have many college classes here that are taught by our teachers and trained as college professors. So that is one really good option. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that option, and there's some similarities and differences to PSEO classes, so we'll cover that too.
Yeah, it's the same curriculum that they would teach if they would go to the college, because the teachers have to get like trained and to taught the specific curriculum, and they have to have certain qualifications in order to teach that class. So,
I guess one benefit would be that if you're in a college class, it might be quite a large class, and you might not have quite as much access to having immediate help from your teacher. And if you're taking a college class in a high school, you're actually having, that one-on-one help from your teachers that may not be available in the same way as when you're in college at PSEO. Okay. Any other questions about what we covered so far? Yes, sir. Yes, we will when we're finished. Put that up for you. You bet.
yeah, it'll be on the registration website, and then I'm sure we'll have Mr. Meyer also like send a link in the newsletter so you can access it. So don't worry if you don't remember everything.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, if you look at the courses that we have available between the college and the schools classes and the AP classes, you can earn over 50 college credits. If you took everything and you planned it out just right from freshman year all the way up, you could earn as many as 50 college credits. So we try to keep as many options and keep adding options for you. Okay, so here's some things to consider with AP and concurrent enrollment at FHS so some of the positives, I guess, would be that you're only navigating one school. You're not trying to like figure out between a college. If you went to PSEO, say at Inver Hills, when do they have their breaks and when do we have our breaks here? And, getting back and forth, if you're taking classes in person, driving back and forth, things like that. You're able to, if you stay here, and especially I think senior year, I found students who maybe they left campus and took some PSEO classes junior year. Senior year, they're like, oh, I don't want to miss my senior year. I don't want to miss all those exciting events going on. So that is one of the pluses of taking our college courses here at the high school. So you can maintain all those relationships and your activities. And then the average class size for our classes is under 30, whereas in college, I think many of you know it's mostly quite a bit larger classes. And then we've got 2 or 3 trimesters to teach a class, so sometimes you're having more time, depending on the subject matter, to learn the course material and earn the college credit. And then, of course, your access to your teachers, as I mentioned. And then if you're thinking about PSEO, which we'll go into in more detail, you also have a maximum number that you can fit. You could take a lot of college courses in a college as well. And then some of the online courses offer flexibility if that's something that's going to be beneficial for a student You know, it's not always the right fit to be taking an online course where you're sitting at home like you were during COVID for the most part, but that is one of the options with PSEO. Okay, so let's talk more PSEO. So what is PSEO? It's a post-secondary enrollment options. It's offered through the state of Minnesota, where the state of Minnesota allows high school students who are motivated, juniors, sophomores, and seniors to take courses, either full or part-time, at a college or university, and to earn both high school credit and college credit at the same time. Which, you know, that's similar to the CIS courses and the AP courses, is that you've got, for the CIS courses, you are earning college credit and high school credit at the same time. So all of these programs offer that. Okay. And then regardless if you're taking PSEO classes, you would still register for your 15 courses. So you would register as if you're going to be a Farmington High School student, even if you're not sure if you're going to take a class PSEO or you're thinking you might take a class PSEO, you would still register for those 15. And then once we get your college schedule, if you do PSEO, then we just take out your courses and set it up for you as best we can to be flexible within the needs of the courses that you take.
Yeah, it's also so like if you can't get into the class that you would like in PSEO, because PSEO students get to sign up for classes last, because the kids who pay for the college classes get to go first. So sometimes the one you can't get is not available, so then we have a backup option for you here as well.
Okay, so when you're a PSEO student, you're going to be maintaining full-time credit status between your college classes and your high school classes if you're taking some classes in both settings. And then your grades earned in a college setting are transferred as earned on your high school transcript. You are not allowed to take any remedial or developmental courses. That would be courses, you know, if you weren't at a college level in math and you tried to take a math course, it wouldn't be covered by PSEO if you weren't at that point of being ready to take college level. And there's some differences in the school calendars, you know, with breaks and things like that. And, you know, I think one of the big differences too is that as a family, as parents, as guardians, you're able to review your students' grades every day. You know, at any given moment, you're able to review their attendance, where they are. And I think that's one thing that would be different in PSEO because of the family privacy, the FERPA Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. They don't allow you to have access to review all those things unless you decide to offer that. You could offer that. Your student could offer that to you if you felt that was needed. I mean, that being said, I would say that our students in PSEO generally are, they're making that decision and you're making that decision as a family because your students are very responsible and that we really don't run into a lot of problems or issues that way. Occasionally we do. You know, occasionally there's times where, like just this past week, where we have students coming to us and telling us, I didn't pass that class. What am I going to do? It's halfway through the trimester, but I'm not going to be able to continue that class, or I didn't pass that class last try, and now I can't get into a class I need, so can I take it in summer school? You know, those things happen, but I think with careful planning and making sure, that's why we talk about the right fit. We want to be sure that we're helping you and your students to, you know, to be in a course that's the right level for them, and that, you know, maybe they're not trying to do too much at once. Maybe they're going to start with 1 or 2 courses, and that's going to be a good fit for them. So those are that's some of the general information. Some things to consider would be, how will my activities here at the high school fit in with what courses I want to take in PSEO? What are my, you know, how can I balance out my time so that I'm taking care of my own mental health, and I'm also, you know, advancing my social development, things like that, where sometimes when you're in college, you're not always, you know, sometimes students aren't as comfortable if they're in classes with adults, although there's other high school students on campus, which is nice if you're in courses with some students who are peers. sometimes, you know, you end up and you're in a class with someone who they're adults and they're planning a group project, and it's a project that you know, they want to meet off campus. Maybe they want to meet at a bar, or they want to, you know, meet at someone's apartment. That's not something that you obviously are going to want to choose. So those are just some things to keep in mind. And then, so yeah, the characteristics, you know, what are you thinking you want to do in your future, and how does this plan, you know, you going to PSEO, or you taking your college and the school classes here and continuing your education at the high school, how does that fit in with your future plans and what you want to do? And as far as your other responsibilities, do you have a job as well? You know, are you involved in things with your church or your community where, you know, what's going to be too much and what's going to be the right balance for you? So what's your best fit? And then for next steps, so characteristics of a PSEO successful student are generally that they've already maybe had some success in college level classes here or honors level courses. The ability to advocate for myself is really important. So that's something, you know, I need to be able to talk to someone, email a teacher, you know, work with someone where I'm doing the work. So that's why we do encourage when students and families are looking at PSEO that as families, as parents, as guardians, you have your student be the one to take the lead and do the work and do the contacts and set up meetings and things like that. I think it's good experience. And, you know, we're happy to help students with that too. Sometimes they come in the office and we'll sit down and they have questions and we'll make a phone call. And maybe that's the first phone call. They aren't really used to making phone calls of like that kind. So we'll help them through that. And then some mature social skills. I think sometimes I have students who want to do PSEO, but part of their, I mean, it kind of depends on their reasoning. Maybe they aren't as comfortable in being around their peers. They just want to go home and like maybe do an online class. But then I always ask, like, how is that going to help you develop? Is it something that you want to develop, those social skills? And how is being with adults in college or being at home and doing an online class, is that going to help you in the way that you want to and need to develop those skills? Students with clear communication skills, especially like your written communication skills, you know, that you've perfected those. Balancing your responsibilities we talked about. Time management, I think especially in college. It's important in high school, but I think it becomes even more important when you're taking college classes, is to figure out how am I going to manage those deadlines and those projects. And that I'm self-motivated, that I'm the one who's driving this. Sometimes I think students come and they come and talk to me. I had a couple today that are like, well, my parents want me to do this. You know, I was like, well, what about you? How are you feeling about that? No, it's my senior year. I want to stay at the high school. You know, just that it's something that you're deciding together, and that the student really does need to be motivated to want to do that, and a lot of students are. So that helps it to be a good fit. And then when you do apply, when you apply to PSEO, it's kind of like you're applying to college early. So you are going to want to have strong assessment scores, your test scores, your grades, things like that. That will be really helpful. Some colleges will have you take an assessment to see where things stand with your skills, your math and your reading. But it would be really, that's a good point if you're already strong in some of those skills. And then your responsibilities as a PSEO student would be that you have communication with the high school. You are in regular contact with your counselor. Any questions you have, coming in, stopping in, making appointments when necessary, and also and you're going to be having contact and communication with your PSEO advisor. So at the college, there's going to be a person who's like similar to having a counselor, maybe not as accessible as we are in the counseling office, but someone that you would want to be in touch with regularly to help when you have questions. And then every semester that you're in college, you're going to be sending your counselor your schedule. And we need your schedule so that we can be sure that the courses you take in college meet the requirements for your high school graduation.
Yeah, and so we can change your Farmington High School schedule. We can't do that unless we have your schedule from the college.
So some of you, maybe you decide you're going to be taking PSEO and you've registered, like we've told you need to do. You've registered for your 15 classes. You get your schedule in August and you're like, oh no, wait, I'm not going to be taking those classes because I'm going to take classes in PSEO, or I'm going to only take some of those classes. So then you would want to be sure to come and see us. We'd sit down with you and help you to adjust your schedule the way that we best could fit for you. And then like tracking all your grades and things like that and requirements. Transportation obviously is your responsibility. And then especially I think senior year, there's so many different things. I know Mrs. Pierce is regularly posting all kinds of announcements and deadlines and activities and events that have to do with senior year.
Yeah, like the yearbook, photos, and cap and gown payments and things like that that you don't want to miss.
So you just have to be keeping in touch with your high school for that information. Your attendance. So it's your responsibility that you're in attendance in your classes here, but also in college, obviously. And then there's certain forms that you need to complete. Those are things that you'll be doing every semester. So just be sure you take care of those. And then, the actual application process and all the steps that involves. That's something that would be the student's responsibility as well. We're here to assist. We're here to, help you through any questions that you have as students. But it really does fall on you then that you have that responsibility because you're a college student. So, social interactions, social and psychological development, I think that's something I think as families, for you to consider as families and talk about together, where do you see your student in terms of their psychological development? How's their mental health, and how is this decision going to be something that's going to support their psychological development and their mental health? That's something really important to consider. What is your connection like to Farmington High School? Are you that student who you feel like you're done, or or maybe you have strong connections here and you feel like you're able to maintain those, and you have friendships outside of school that are important to you, and you're able to maintain those even if you are not here at the school. And then some of the risks and consequences of grades and credits. I think the biggest risk would be if we look at grades of PSEO students. Some students, do extremely well. They do so well. We're so proud of them. And some people, make the effort and try, and we're proud of them for that. But sometimes things don't go the way we think they will, and then any grade that I get, like let's say I'm a straight A student, I've got A's all the way through, or I'm a B student and I've gotten, B's all the way through, but then I take a college class in PSEO and I get a D. So I pass the class, I get my credit, I get my high school credit, but now when I go to my college that I'm going to go to after high school, after I'm through with all this and I apply to college, that is the first grade that's going to be on my transcript is that D that I earned. And I'm going to take that with me to have to rebuild my GPA. So I think that would be probably the biggest risk.
Yeah, the other thing is there's also a withdrawal deadline for the college classes. So if students withdraw from the class after that deadline, then they're going to get a withdrawal and a fail on their transcript. So a lot of colleges it's 5 days, but it kind of depends on the college. So that's another thing. You really want to make sure that you talk with your high school counselor and your PSEO advisor to be yes, this is the right class that meets what you need. Because if you sign up for the wrong one and withdraw from it too late, that's going to have some negative consequences, which also has happened before.
Okay, and then credit transferability. I find that I have found through the years that students who are taking classes from a four-year college or university. So for example, if you're taking the University of Minnesota classes here at Farmington, or the St. Cloud State classes here at Farmington, or whatever classes that are four-year college classes that you're taking in the high school setting, those I think always are have more flexibility with transfer when you're transferring on to your college after high school, especially if you're planning to go to a college out of state or you're planning to go to a college that's more competitive. But it's always a good idea. So let's say that I decide I'm going to go to DCTC or Inver Hills and take some PSEO classes, and I know that eventually I want to go to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities or the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So those are my like plans for my future, my hopes for my future. I better check with those colleges to see if I take certain classes PSEO at a college away from Farmington, or if I take, say, some of those college classes here, which ones are more likely to transfer and how will they transfer? So sometimes courses credits transfer as elective credits, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily might meet the requirements of my major. Maybe I took a certain chemistry class and I'm going into nursing. And would the class that I took at Inver Hills, or would it be my AP chemistry class? Which one of those are more likely to meet the requirements so that I won't have to take the first level chemistry class when I get to the college? So, there's some complicated things to figure out there. But the colleges are, especially these days, colleges are really willing to answer any questions you have as students and as families. But again, colleges are always going to want to hear from the students. They're always going to hope that it's the students who are interested, whether it's PSEO or later when you're applying on to your 4-year college or 2-year college or whatever program after high school. They're going to want to hear from students too, but I would say especially with PSEO. So, and then am I prepared? If I'm looking to go into PSEO, am I prepared and ready to be on my own going to college when I'm in high school? Okay, so what's next if I decide to go that route of PSEO? I'm going to review and discuss that with my family, and then I'm going to go to the PSEO website of my college that I'm thinking of attending or applying to. So every college that where you'd be considering PSEO, and most people are considering colleges that are near because again they're thinking of being somewhere where they're going to be driving or have that option to take classes in person. There are some students who take classes only remotely, and then there's students like, say, the University of Minnesota. If I was going to take classes at the University of Minnesota for PSEO, I'm probably not going to go part-time because it's too far to drive, So that would be something to consider if I was going full-time. So you go to the PSEO website, and then they have all of their requirements, all of their dates, like what are the deadlines for applying? When do I need to apply if I'm going to be wanting to go there fall semester? So you want to check your website, and then I would say it's really important that you sign up for an informational session. And they have those in person and online. I would say in person is really beneficial because it's nice to know, like, where am I going to be? Where is my going to be my home base of college if I'm taking PSEO classes?
Yeah, and even if you're online, it's nice to know, like, where's my PSEO advisor if I need to go meet with them? Because sometimes it's just nice to have a go-to face and a person to go talk to, so it's always a good option to visit. Okay, and then I'm going to complete a video and a post-secondary post-secondary enrollment options programs, and you pick that up in the third floor office. So they'll give you come on up, you ask Mrs. King if you can have that information. She will give you the QR code, and then you can look at the video with your family, and then at that point you can sign off with your family that you have the information that you need, that we need for you to have in order for you to be in PSEO. You are welcome to schedule a meeting with your counselor if you wish to have that meeting and have more information or just more discussion. We're really happy to do that at any time. But we'll be setting those meetings up probably towards the end of February, just because we have so many students that are booking in to get their registration completed. So
But, you have any questions, you call us, we'll do our best to give you what you need. And then you go through the application process, and then you find out if you're accepted.
Yeah, and then you let us know that you're going before school ends, hopefully, because we like to like have an idea since students sign up for PSEO classes in the summer, and we only work a few days in the summer. It's nice to be like, hey, this is what I'm planning to take, and I'll say, yep, that meets the requirements for high school, and then I say, okay, and then they go apply in the summer when I'm not there, and then we come back when school, like before school starts, and we double check everything, and it's good. But sometimes I get some frantic Schoology messages and stuff, and it's like, I'm not working right now, so it takes a little bit while to get a response.
So it's probably a good idea if you're going to be doing PSEO that you know that you're going to come and talk with your counselor right away when we're back, which is usually right at the end of August. Yep. When like that picture day, around that time is when is a good time. We usually have drop-in days for you to come in. Questions? Yes. No. Oh, the question was, are most PSEO classes online? I would say no. Pretty much all classes are offered in person. There's a very few that are online only, but some students may choose to only want to take online courses. We don't always recommend that for a first time around, especially, unless you're that student who really excelled during taking your classes in COVID, and you just, you feel as a family that being at home is a better option. But pretty much all classes are available in person.
Yeah, and they also have, like, especially if you're doing science, there's a lot of, like, labs. So sometimes they have, like, blended, there's, like, 4 different types of classes. They have, like, synchronous, asynchronous, blended, and then, like, Google Meets, and then, so it's, like, there's a bunch of different types. But yes, they do offer, like, in person as well.
Yes, sir. So the question is, if the course is offered in Minnesota, if the course is offered out of Minnesota, can PSEO cover the cost of a course offered outside of the state of Minnesota if it's a remote class? Do I have that question right? Okay. No. PSEO covers classes in the state of Minnesota only.
Yeah. Good question.
Any other questions? Yes.
One more.
Sure.
My daughter seems to think like applying at the University of Minnesota for PSEO is more difficult than like Invergrove. Now, if you're applying like just for college to get into U of M, typically it's very difficult, but as a PSEO, is it more difficult?
I would say yes. I think it's more, I would say more competitive, and they just really want to be sure that a student is ready and going to be successful. So I would say if you look at all the various colleges that offer PSEO, which is all the colleges in the state of Minnesota, so if you look at the college, the more competitive the college, like the University of Minnesota Twin Cities is one of the more competitive colleges in our state, then they're going to be even more competitive when it comes to PSEO, and even a smaller number of students accepted.
Yeah, if you go to the U of M PSEO website, it tells you. But yeah, their average GPA of who gets in is a lot higher compared to if you would end up going to like some of the 2-year schools. But yeah, it's just because it's more competitive. And I know the U of M specifically, I don't think they offer as many online. A lot of them are more in person. From the kiddos that I have, I don't think I've had anyone do online.
If you're someone who took an ACT or, if you took the ACT test and you scored really well, you could use that information. It's not required. But yeah, your GPA is going to be the main requirement. There's going to be other factors that they might look at, especially if you provide that information for them. But they're looking pretty much at your GPA and your course selections. Like, So what kind of courses have you taken? What is your course rigor? If you're applying as a senior, what's your course rigor when you look at your junior year? And maybe your GPA isn't as high because maybe you had a rough freshman year, but your sophomore and junior year, you really strengthen those grades and you really, made sure you took some rigorous college prep classes. That's something that's going to work in your favor. Yes. No. Okay. So your question is about whether or not, if you apply PSEO, are you applying to individual colleges? And the answer is yes. So each college you're going to be applying individually. Most people, people may apply to one or two. I would say most people narrow it down before they apply of where they want to go and where it's going to be a good match in terms of, all the factors we covered tonight. And so yeah, you'll apply directly to each college or the college you plan to attend.
Yeah, if you just Google the college and then PSEO, it'll take you to the website. But not all colleges have to offer PSEO, right?
Well, all colleges in the state of Minnesota that I know of, Mr. Newman's saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some colleges potentially don't have it. So that's how you can find it if you just Google it. But yeah, they'll have different online applications, but then different colleges have different due dates. So it depends on where you're looking.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Good question. So her question is regarding, how the credits are transferred. So the way the credits are transferred from college to high school is always the same. It's always going to be like a 4-credit class in college is a 2-credit class in high school. So it's a 1-to-2 ratio for whatever credit. And most college classes are 4 credits is the most common. Some are 3 credits. So if, for example, you took a 3-credit English class in college, that's only going to give you 1.5 high school credits, and that wouldn't give you enough, say, for your English requirement. You'd have to take another additional English course to meet that requirement. Yes. Yeah. So her question is whether or not, so a student who isn't sure what they want to major in, they really don't know where they want to go or what they want to do after college, does it benefit them to be taking classes PSEO, or what would benefit them more? Am I covering your question? So I would say that there are a number of students who are taking PSEO courses who are not sure how they want to major, but there are general courses that they can start with. Again, I would probably, students might have some idea of what they like and what they're good at. So I would definitely, look in that direction of taking those kinds of courses. And maybe if they haven't yet tried any college classes here, maybe think about doing that first. And then, if you're not sure, you mentioned, having the credits transfer. If you're not sure where you might want to go in the future, that's going to be difficult to figure out because we have to, say what I was saying about the University of Wisconsin-Madison or the Twin Cities, those 2 colleges, I might be able to know which courses that I take PSEO would transfer. So if I don't have any idea where I want to go, well, maybe I just want to make a guess, and just check out a couple colleges to see what courses they would take. Yeah. AP classes are pretty much transferable to every college in the United States, so advanced placement classes would be a good bet. Also, other courses that we have to offer are the four-year colleges courses are always, from what I've seen, they're always more likely to be accepted at various colleges and more competitive colleges.
Yeah, because sometimes like well, I have two things. So like sometimes they have to try to say you take an English at Inver Hills versus like the U of M English. Like if you go to a 4-year college, are they more likely to take the Tech Ed English and count that as the same level as their freshman English, or like the U of M English? Well, like I'm guessing the U of M English is probably a little bit more rigorous, so that's why we try to go with the 4-year. If you're thinking for like college credits to transfer, like the ease of transfer ability, but then also like if you do PSEO, most students do if 2 years of their generals, they get all their generals done for college. So then once they go into college, they need to pick their major. So I've had some students who got, their first 2 years done, but then they go to college and they're like, well, I still don't know what I want to do. It still helps them save money, but sometimes it speeds up that decision a little bit. So that's another thing to kind of think about.
Another thing that I think that happens sometimes is when students are at the high school and they're taking some of our elective courses as opposed to just getting their generals done in college, they stumble upon something that they never thought they would like. They never, didn't have a big interest in it, but all of a sudden they found something they have a passion for. And I think because of all the various kinds of classes that we offer, I think that's another benefit of maybe taking some of the electives when you're in that position where you're just not sure really what you even want to study, as opposed to just like jumping in and getting your generals out of the way. Because once you get in college, you're going to be paying for any course you take where you're trying to learn something new or trying to explore something you haven't taken before, whereas in high school you get to do it for free.
Yeah, and this is a random side note, but it's not like you have to all pick one. You can do a combo platter. So that's kind of nice too, so you can kind of try out different things and see what like works for you and what's the best fit.
Okay.
So just to clarify, I think I understand the answer, but what types of classes are most students in PSEO taking? Are they gen, or do they have opportunities to take more major specific or career-centered?
So just to repeat your question, that you're wondering what types of courses students normally take or commonly take in PSEO, if they're taking just their generals or if they're taking their core classes or having a chance to take some electives. I would say that more of my students in PSEO are taking their core classes that they need to graduate from high school first. And then they're taking the electives and maybe they're in choir or band or something they really enjoy. They're keeping that at the high school, but they're taking maybe their English course or their social studies course at the college. I would say that's the most common. There's some students who, especially I have a couple students who are going full-time PSEO, and then by the time they get to their senior year, they might be taking some of the courses that would eventually, they've done their research and they know where they're going to go, and they're taking courses that will meet those transfer requirements that do, tie up with the major that they want to take in college.
Yeah, and some of the major specific ones, sometimes they're not able to take potentially yet because they're only allowed to take, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we really appreciate you coming out tonight. We'll be up here for a bit in case, like Ms. Newman said, if you have specific questions that we can answer for you about your family.
Yeah, have a good day.